All right, so we live in a society where boys are pressured to act like a man or toughen up. What does that even mean? Why are emotions associated to a particular gender? Well, you know me. If me want to cry, me just cry because men have feelings too. So let's talk about the importance of why men should be encouraged to tap into their emotional side. Counseling psychologist, you see him all the time. He's with us, Andre Allen Casey. Gleaner contributor, Mr. Lipton Matthews is also here, and travel blogger Malik Howell is also here. The headline says men and masculinity at serious threat. Now, I know editors write the headlines, but it was your story. You didn't write that headline.
No,
do you agree with it?
I do.
Do you agree with that headline, men and masculinity at serious threat?
Yes.
Do you agree with that?
I do.
Why?
Well, I agree with the statement because there are some persons sharing the view that masculinity is toxic. I'm against violence against women and extreme aggression. However, men are more aggressive than women. They're more assertive and they're also more dominant. And these, what we would call somewhat uniquely male traits, are needed for men to lead and to exert confidence. If a man wants to cry, let him cry. But we don't need to encourage men to become emotional babies. Men usually exhibit a higher degree of emotional restraint than women, and that's okay. And the reality is that the social costs associated with men being emotional are extremely onerous. So, for example, we're talking about men not being emotional, but many women in Jamaica will say it, I want a rough man. I don't want a bally man. So let's get real.
Yeah. Andre, you were listening intently to that, and you're like, let me see if you disagree with anything that he said?
Well, yes. in that, you see, emotions is what it is. It is emotions, whether male or female. Unfortunately, our society says that men must not cry as much as women or express themselves emotionally as women. But the truth is, our emotions is the seat of our functionalities. And so really and truly say, unless we learn to process how we feel, then unfortunately many times we overreact and we do not inform the feeling before we follow it.
Yeah. Malik, if all that is true, if men and masculinity are serious threat, if that is so, where that come from? What is the parents say, boy, you're a man, and where that come from?
It is a number of different sources, but what I've found, based on experience, now probably not personal experience, but just things I've seen growing up, is that a lot of it starts at home. And so it is usually a case of, you have a child and, oh, stop your balling, man, you ball too much, man. You're a little girl, you move too. And so when you have that rhetoric like over and over and over and over again, is a lot of what I would call really bad social programming.
Yeah.
Lipton,
and I'm reading here, Jamaica is a backward and regressive society because there are insufficient enlightened male leaders. Eh? That's rough.
Yeah, that's my view and I'm sticking to it.
But why you say that? Give
Why?
me an example of where that came from.
An example of where what came from.
What I just said, Jamaica is a backward and regressive society because there are insufficient enlightened male leaders. Where that came from in your head?
Oh, that we're backward and regressive. Yeah. Well, for one, if you look at the GCI Global Competitive Index, Legatum Prosperity Index, our institutions are poor, crime and corruption are problematic, or a student consistently perform very poorly in CSEC exams, leadership is weak everywhere. I won't call the name of any backward man, but that's the reality. Jamaica can become a progressive society, but we need to look at the problems and solve the problems. And one of the reasons why we're like this is that our men are not taking their rightful place in the society.
But that broad brushing
I don't
sits
see
well
that
with
broad
you.
brushing.
Andre, that sits well with you?
PNS, personality, nurturing, and for the most part, how I've been socialized. And the truth be told, all of us, our personalities bring out certain types of emotions. The phlegmatic person might be a little bit more calm. The choleric might be a little bit more dominant and maybe not cry as much. But the other two personalities, be it the sanguine or the melancholic, get in touch with their feelings, be it male or female, get in touch with their feelings. So our personalities a lot of times contribute to how we express ourselves as far as our feelings are concerned. Our nurturing, so as my good friend over here mentioned, how we have been nurtured and grown up, you know, we're not allowed to express ourselves as much as we should. And also, as far as the society is concerned, if the society says man mustn't cry and man mustn't do this and man must have certain job, and, you know, unfortunately, it is that type of rhetoric that interferes with how we express ourselves.
I have to jump in because we have to go to news. Thursday, March 7, that story was written by Sir Lipton. If you want to go through it, you can. But we have to go to news. Counseling psychologist Andre Allen Casey, being a contributor, Lipton Matthews, and travel, lifestyle, and fitness blogger, Malik Howell. We're approaching our last hour. Let me tell you what's cooking. Seafood for one. Then we're altering your working routine for the summer. But let's go to Studio B. O'Shane has news in 5.